indict, convict, send that racist cop to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
So we are gathered here today. We are the anti-racism network, or the anti-racist network of Durham region. And we are gathered here today with our allies in support of Dafonte Miller, Dafonte Miller's family, and all of those that have been subjected to racist violence at the hands of police, more broadly and more specifically, Durham Regional Police Services and Toronto Police Services. We are here delivering a list of 6 demands from community. One, an independent investigation into Durham Regional Police Services and Toronto Police Services that will look at to which the extent frontline officers and administrative staff of both services colluded to cover up the assault of Dafonte Miller. This case is a prime example of how policing continues to fail communities of color, and particularly Black communities. From the officers at Durham Regional Police Services that showed up on the scene, failed to question either Michael or Christian Theriault, and then charged Dafonte Miller after he had been the victim of racist brutality.
Shame.
To the deliberate collusion between Durham Regional Police Services and Toronto Police Services in an attempt to cover up this case and to ensure that it was never heard by the Special Investigations Unit.
Shame. Shame.
Chief Paul Martin has said that they will launch an internal review into Durham Regional Police Services. We are here to say that that is not enough. It is not enough for police to be reviewing police. It is not enough for police to continue to deny the public real accountability. Our second demand, we want an apology from Durham Regional Police Services and Toronto Police Services into Dafonte Miller. We do not need this legal case to drag on. It is obvious that both services have treated this man and his family utterly inhumanely, and we want to see an apology promptly that recognizes this fact. 3, we want to see the firing of Michael Theriault from Toronto Police Services. It is unfathomable that this person continues to, or has been allowed to continue to be a part of the service, but is also out on bail and in our communities. 4, we want to see monetary compensation for Dafonte Miller and his family. 5, the firing of John Theriault from Toronto Police Services for his role in covering up the assault his sons committed. Detective John Theriault, a member of TPS Professional Standards Unit, that's the division that is responsible for bringing cases to the SIU, repeatedly contacted Durham Regional Police Services investigators to gain information relating to the case and to provide false information about injuries that his son received as a hope to be able to continue to cover up this case. And that is completely unacceptable and inexcusable, and he should no longer be able to serve as a Toronto Police Services officer. Our final demand is around overhauling the SIU, which includes a commitment of releasing all names of police officers charged by the SIU, the annual collection of race-based disaggregated data to the SIU, the public release of all past and future reports of the Special Investigations Unit, and the immediate adoption of the 2017 Independent Police Oversight Review recommendations. If anything, this case is a clear example that the current oversights that exist for police across this province do not work. It is not enough to have police providing oversight for police, like I said earlier. Toronto Police Services, Durham Regional Police Services have been overly complicit in this case in denying this family justice. We do not need to see this case drag out before the Ontario government can act on overhauling the SIU, and we demand action now.
Black lives, they matter here. Black lives, they matter here.
Regent, you're with the Anti-Racist Network of Durham Region, in lockstep with Black Lives Matter Toronto, correct? This is a coordinated list of demands?
Yes, we recognize that both Durham Regional Police Services and Toronto Police Services is complicit in this violence, and so we see anti-Black racism as a global phenomenon, one that touches us here in Durham, but we're working hand in hand with organizers at Black Lives Matter Toronto.
Regent, specifically, what authority are you speaking to today? Because you do know this has to go through the courts before it can go to any next steps, before a provincial government or any other authority would take a look at even addressing these. And it could take years. You realize these kind of cases could be years before this criminal trial hits the docket.
This case is not the only example that we have of the Special Investigations Unit not working for community, not providing confidence for community. I would push back on this notion that we need to wait for this case to roll out before we could talk about things that need to change within the SIU. We know from Andrew Loku, we know from Jermaine Carby that the SIU is not here for Black communities, is not here to be able to provide police real oversight into police conduct. We demand action now, and the government, the provincial government, Kathleen Wynne, Michael Couteau, the Anti-Racism Directorate, are the exact people that need to act and respond and inspire confidence in community, that the government is doing something to ensure that citizens are being protected by police and police violence.